Well, I was just telling Jody it's rather warm in here.
It's really warm in
I
here.
know. Don't you wish you had a sweater on?
Yeah, I know.
I have-
I can't see your tacos, and I'm guessing you're probably really
I,
sweating. Oh, very nice. Yeah, you just need to parade that around and start
So it only took
changing.
us 2 hours to do number 1 and 2 and 20 minutes to do 3 through 12. So
Yeah,
we should do pretty good.
yeah. No, I think that we made up some lost time. Okay, we'll call the council meeting to order. And Carrie, could we ask you to offer the invocation? And Brian, will you please lead us in the pledge?
Our dear Father in heaven, we're grateful for the opportunity we have to meet as a city council this evening. We're grateful for the moisture that we have received. We know that it's projected to be a dry year and potential increase for fires. Please protect our city. Please help us to be mindful of our actions, that we can all work together for safety. Please bless our firefighters as they continue to prepare to meet the needs of our community and in their response and in their training. We ask thy blessing tonight as we make decisions and policies that affect our residents, that we are mindful of the one and the many, the old and the young. We're grateful for the opportunities we have and for the beautiful city that we live in. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
After me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right. Public comment portion. Public is here and the public is quiet. Okay. And no public comment online. So
Mom's like, no.
we'll close the public comment portion and item 17, consent agenda. Got a motion there?
I'll make a motion that we approve.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Lunt, seconded by Councilmember Malkovich. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 18, consideration of a driveway grade modification for 105 East Bridger Circle.
I think I have a little more discussion on this.
I do too.
Okay.
Do we make a motion first and then discuss?
Well,
Technically.
yeah, I don't know, but does the discussion might direct the
Okay.
motion?
I think that the written material we received and the comments in the written material, they seem to conflict a little bit with what we heard tonight. And so I'm a little confused. And I'm not sure I'm not sure that my questions were answered in a way that I can make it all make sense and go together, because the written material was we couldn't get a hold of the person, we couldn't get resolution. It made it sound like they're very uncooperative. But then here, it was a different story. So I have issues with, I have a hard time approving it, but also there are no alternatives. So it's kind of like we have to.
And for me, a modification means that there is no other way. And we do those for hardship, and yet we also recognize in modifying from our standards that there could be increased in safety issues. And so I would say that if we go forward with this, recognizing that it doesn't appear that there's any other way, that we do put in some parameters for safety issues. And like I suggested, what we have done for a few other homes like this, maybe the curvature so that no one slides off.
I've actually had even my driveway, we've had 2 cars go off sideways.
Yeah, so,
down towards the hill.
so I would suggest that when we
scary.
are ready to make a motion. But I agree, we got a lot of information that was relevant to the property, but not relative to our vote. And so it's hard to mesh the two. Like a covert obviously would be an issue with the driveway because they're going to have to dig that up, but it's not the vote we're taking.
Well, yeah, we're not taking that vote, but the culvert's not in compliance, the window wells aren't in compliance. There's so many other things.
Slope,
Jody,
the ditch.
based on what we do tonight, is it gonna affect an extension on the temporary occupancy permit?
Well, let me answer two questions. One, I wouldn't say that the person is uncooperative. I think it's just, I'll get to it when I get to it type of thing.
Not as responsive in a timely
He's just
manner.
not responsive to the outstanding.
Most of this stuff was noted a year ago on, documented, right? We have a document, an inspection that noted almost everything we talked about tonight on the 9th a year ago.
Well, and the
As-
written comments make it feel like,
As far as, yeah, he just was unresponsive. I mean, we tried to reach out and just, weren't getting anywhere. And then maybe it's because he as well knew that this was just overwhelming to him. I mean, sometimes you get overwhelmed by what's going on in life, and maybe this was overwhelming. As far as will it impact the temporary occupancy, he's going to have to fill out an extension for a temporary occupancy permit form, and he would have to pay a fee.
But that's regardless. It's going
That's going to be
yeah.
regardless, because right now we can't issue a final occupancy. So that's regardless of the situation. On the other items, those would be discussed amongst Ted and Wayne and Chris as our zoning inspector. And they would have to come up with solutions that are still within our code and still compliant with IRC-IBC code.
Okay. And the extension on that is for how long? 6 months or another year?
Decision is up to our building official on how long he would make that.
Okay.
and I know you don't want to really give an opinion, but Wayne and Jody, looking at the site plan, because he stated that there's no other solution, like there's no way to fix it. Would you agree with that statement?
With the driveway.
Even if he went to property line?
She's already asked for property line.
Oh, it looked like he still had,
He says he's at the property line. We wouldn't know without a survey and
Survey.
going out and checking to see. If that's the case, then he's not with
If he's not
the
in
site
compliance-
plan, so he's not in keeping with the site plan, so that would have,
but the site plan has still got, well,
And that's
They
just
have
the
a
lower
tenant
portion of the
fee.
driveway, right? That's
the right.
Yeah, we're just asking about the
That's
driveway.
just
the
right
lower
of way,
portion,
I
though,
think,
not the
isn't it?
upper portion. The lower portion is maybe on the table tonight, but it's more the upper portion
Maybe
that
not.
is.
Well,
I
honestly,
think it's the whole thing.
you're
Oh, yeah,
talking,
it's the whole thing.
It's
for
you're
me.
talking 8 feet.
He could
That's how
improve a
far
little bit,
off he probably
but
is from the
he
property line.
can't approve it to a point where it's
Any
right.
Yeah.
Because there's a variance, you have to be off the property line so far.
Well, code states you have to be off your driveway has to, have the flare. It has to be -2% for 3 feet, and it needs to be off your property line 8 feet. So you'd need a variance or
Depends upon the
modification.
zone you're in.
Yeah.
What's that?
Depends upon the zone you're in.
Yeah.
Each zone has a different
Oh, perfect.
distance
Yeah.
from
So
the,
what is,
Property line.
he's in
um,
R1 or is he a PUD?
HUD.
Oh, I'm not familiar with the
So I
PUD then. So what,
believe it's 15 or 20 feet off the
I was
property
going to
line.
say 20. I could say 20.
so at 20 feet, he might be able to take that 15 point whatever,
And he takes
percentage
a risk
and
of
drop
having
it
tore
to,
up if he did a
you know,
easement.
14.
14, 13, well, 20 feet could help him quite a
Could help
bit,
him.
but
And the gas line, there is a possibility of deepening the gas line, because that's what's called, you could see based on his numbers, that's what's
sounded-
causing the hump.
it sounded to me like the gas line was in the second stage of the
It is.
driveway.
It is.
not the first. And the
No, the
first,
first stage is just one little spot that's
the
not
only
right.
thing he'd be able to gain, because his elevations are locked down to that first curve that goes into the steps into his house. That's the only place he could gain, because the rest of this is kind of locked down by that grade, unless he really did some major overhaul.
I just, because
It's-
of historical issues that we've had, I want to make sure that there are no other options. I want to make sure, and I want to make sure that it's clear and it's stated here on public record that there are no other options. He can't fix it.
That it truly is a hardship that is needing this modification.
Right. I want to
Not-
make sure that that's clear before we vote. Sorry.
Knowledge, that's correct.
Okay.
And from the limited access I have here, I would agree with that, from my knowledge.
Well, and for, like you say, it's close to the property line. It's going back. I don't see where there would be enough room to do one of those S curves to get it
No.
into compliance, because it's just,
Oh,
it's
that's-
a smaller lot. It's less, it's only a 0.7 acres.
Well, it's
So it's not,
if this went over, that's what I was thinking. The
Oh,
bottom
went
we're
that way.
assuming is close
Oh,
to.
so you're saying,
I'm saying if we go over to the property line with this, it could actually give him.
well, if you
20
look
more
at the
feet.
topo,
yeah, it doesn't,
he's,
it's pretty steep
you're
back
looking
there.
at 605, 6,005, or 6,005. And then to go over to the property line, it's dropping.
Oh, yeah.
So he'd still have to get back up to the 606.8, which is his driveway.
And it's not very far from the property line.
Yeah, that's the thing.
As
He's-
it is,
He would
too.
be right on the property line to do
Yeah.
that.
I
So
mean,
it's-
that's the only option I saw to actually give him more.
Yeah.
length to do that. And then he would actually have the driveway up and the pad up and the driveway would cut up this way and into it. It wouldn't
He'd have, he might need
level.
engineered retaining walls too.
It's very strange to me that the site plan and the professional people who did this didn't notice this prior to
Well,
build.
He said that the survey, the original topo here was wrong, inaccurate. And my guess is the excavator didn't go deep enough, or the bill for going deep enough was outside the budget. That's probably more likely, because when I put my home in, I went down as far as I had to and not an inch more, because I was already in six figures of excavation.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's going on here. This is a lot of excavation to get to where he's at, because you can also see that backyard.
Mhm.
That is some serious retaining.
The retaining walls, that's what I
And-
was thinking too. That's a
Yeah.
lot of
If you look
retaining
at,
walls.
if you look at this property on Google Earth, it's under construction and it looks different than it does now. It looks less steep than it does now.
Oh,
So something.
So when we were
something's
there and it
crazy.
was in construction before he actually moved in, I went to Ted and I'm like, there's no way this thing, nothing is going to pass here. Because that driveway, it's horrendous. And it was all dirt. And we know he's known about this for a year and he paved over it. That's another concern. Just went ahead.
That's
He's taking a gamble.
one of my big hesitancies. Is
And I know he knew about it when it was still dirt.
Ben, would you support forcing a curb to go on that bottom edge to keep car on the driveway? If a car goes off, it's going to roll. It's
Right.
really steep.
It's really steep.
It's really steep.
So
I've driven past it, and
I'm
you
going to
know,
make the
I don't
motion
think it
for
would
it with the
hurt.
curb.
I don't know if that should
I
be a
just don't know.
suggestion or
See, the curb it's tricky because of the speed of the car could flip the car, depending on how high that curb is, right? Like,
The
there's-
residents in town who already have the curb where we put this in years ago
mhm.
have told me they're very glad that it's there. And we have
Then-
several that we have. had
I
them
actually
put
wish
that
we
in
had
there.
one. But
Um,
ours is just our flat driveway and it gets icy and if you spin out at all, like if you're trying to back up and you spin out at all, you actually go sideways and
yeah.
you go off.
Yeah,
And I keep telling my husband, we need a curb there.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it, I mean-
I'd have no problem with the curb.
Okay.
And I would also say that if the culvert is replaced, the negative grade needs to be established at the
but we
entrance
can't,
of
can we put that in this because it's part of
No.
the driveway?
No.
part of the
that's a separate-
modification. Yes,
Because it's the driveway. We're not talking about the culvert. We're just talking about the grade.
I'm
of the
talking about the
driveway.
grade.
Yeah.
If the culvert is required by our building official to be up to the 15-inch, I would say then the grade doesn't need, it can't return to what it currently is without, you know, conversations happening, but it really should, per what he said, it used to be at a negative 3%
Yeah,
or
Is
negative
that for 4
2%.
feet, Ben?
It's for 3 feet.
yep, 3 feet.
What, Jody?
Are we then, if with your modification, are we asking him to update the site plan to reflect what's actually been approved?
Yes. I think in case there's future issues,
I want more information from Chris and Ted.
before you approve it.
I can't,
Well,
I can't.
I'm
approve
okay
it.
with that as long as it's, I mean, he's in.
As
by
long as he
tomorrow,
can
he's
still
not
get
in
another-
compliance Anyways.
Yeah, we would just make him fill out a temporary occupancy permit. The building official would need to approve it. And a note would be attached that the council is considering a modification in the driveway, but needs some answers.
Mhm. I would.
But
be
I think
okay
it
with
would be, I think that we should offer very specific instruction on what you're looking for in terms, if he's having to get a site plan, a revised site plan, I think that should be, I mean, because that's not an
I'm not asking-
inexpensive or easy process, right? I mean, that's something that,
I'm not asking for that now.
it's not.
would we ask for it before our next meeting, or is this after we agreed to the modifications, then he puts in the new site?
If I
plan?
was him, I wouldn't do it until after.
Yeah, I
we
wouldn't
approved
either.
the
I
modification.
agree, because we might
Yeah.
change.
Mhm.
We can just
I don't-
require a note to
I
the
don't
site
want a
plan
new
as
site
well,
plan.
so that
Just
on this date,
like a
the
red
council
line,
did-
yeah.
I
Such
guess
and
I'm
such.
thinking legally, which one's better?
I don't want a new site plan.
Okay.
Just a note to it that shows that there's some
Yep.
modifications.
Yep, I want it
Okay.
So
amended,
are
but not
we
a
going
new.
to then make a motion to table so that we can get the answers from Ted and Chris?
I'll make a motion to table it because I want to hear from Chris and Ted.
Okay,
Is
hear
there
from
any
Ted and
question
Chris.
that I can answer that would satisfy any questions you have?
Me, no. I think I need, I really need Ted. And then Chris about that, and it's about the lower section not meeting specification for me.
Okay,
You worried about fire truck? That
Uh,
one little hump?
Ambulances and fire trucks, yes. I
And
don't
safety
want to,
is really the main
that's
thing.
the whole reason for this.
No, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I agree.
I personally
You're-
have
you're-
no problem.
You're talking
Setting
about a
up the
couple
modification now.
of tenths of grade there.
Yeah.
So I don't,
And what I'm telling you, Wayne, is I'm not going to vote on it without, if it gets moved to vote on it, I'm going to vote no until I hear from Ted and Chris. That's what I'm telling you, because
Okay,
I'm not
I
going to
just-
make
I
that
just-
call for Ted.
wanted off for any information,
no,
further
I-
information I might have that
Yep,
would help, but.
And I'm not,
And it's mostly over
trust-
that grade.
I
is what
trust
you're
them.
talking about, Is the grade.
I think that's
you
what
look
he
a little
said.
shifty. All right, so I think that we are clear on where you stand. Is anybody willing to make any other motions, or are we just going to leave it at that?
I'm okay with,
So we have a motion,
I'm
we
okay
need
with-
either a second or the motion to die and a new motion.
Well, we haven't really, have we had a
haven't
motion? Are
really
you
yet.
motioning to
I
table
was,
it?
I was motioning to table. it.
Okay,
oh,
all right. And is there a second on tabling? Okay, sorry, Brian.
Okay.
That motion fails for lack of second. Do we have a?
I'd like to make a
would-
modification, recommendation for if the culvert is replaced, that the negative grade be reestablished. per city code and their site plans call out. Also, for the lower half of the driveway, to have a curb installed to a specification that Ted could establish for height for
Mhm.
his engineering skills. And then for the upper, I would say grant a modification upwards to the 20% or 21 degree per what's here to be used at the owner's discretion and liability.
Would we put the curb all the way up then? Because if he's using it at his discretion, you're still going to fall off. So I would suggest the curb is all the way up if the modification is for the entire driveway.
I'd be okay with that.
Wayne has,
Clarify, the degree is a misstatement. It should be a percentage. The number I think is right, but he put
Oh,
degree there instead
perfect.
of percentage.
At 21%.
Just wanted to
Great.
clarify that.
Then.
I would second Ben's motion.
Okay, so Ben's motion as modified by
By
Carrie.
Carrie, yes.
Okay, so.
No,
Repeat
let's
it.
just say it was Ben's motion, including what Carrie said, but you don't need to include that. So if culvert is required by our building official to be replaced, the negative grade is to be reestablished per the site plan. A curb is to be added from the base of the driveway up to the second driveway.
on one, on the outer, outer edge.
On the outer edge.
On the downhill side,
Yeah.
yes. And the modification to the second driveway to be 21% slope is acceptable. And for that second driveway to be used at the owner's discretion and liability. Predominantly not during the winter.
Okay, so there's the motion. You still
There's the
seconding
second.
that?
I do.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Kinnison. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay, the ayes have it. That motion carries. Okay, item 19. Resolution 2025-10, and 20 we could do, I
Any
suppose.
other, I guess?
Yeah, so the fund disbursements, February and March.
Motion to accept.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Malkovich on,
Is that on both 19 and 20?
yeah,
Gary?
on items 19 and 20.
I'll second
those. Oh, Brian, go.
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Hutchings. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that carries. 21, Resolution 2025-12, resolution in support of Utah County Winter Response Task Force's efforts to aid the homeless up to $500.
I'll make a motion.
I'll
This one.
second.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember Lunt, seconded by Councilmember Malkovich. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. that
We need
motion-
to put dollar amount or is 500 okay? It's because it's above and beyond.
What was that?
Do we need to put the $500 amount in there or is that okay?
We did put the 500.
Yeah, it was specified up to $500.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, thank you. Okay, item 22, Ted's Jaws of Life, right? Isn't that what this is, or something like that? Approval of a large purchase request for the,
Kids,
I'm-
cutters.
the cutters.
Ted-
Okay.
And what was the
move that we-
specific amount on that?
12,655, but if we just go up to 13,000, that would be great.
2,000, okay.
I move that we approve $13,000 for purchase of necessary firefighting tools.
I'll
Okay.
second that motion.
Councilmember Hutchings makes the motion.
Maybe
Councilmember Kinnis,
Maybe Jen ought to say. I'd love it. Let her, yeah.
are you taking
that-
back your second
that-
then?
I take it back, yeah.
Okay.
No.
Brian, I don't want two of your motions.
No,
to fail
you,
for lack of a
you
second.
second it.
Somebody's got a
Janet,
second. You can't do that.
I want
Brian.
Ted to be so impressed. You can make a mark and be friends.
I can't do it.
Oh, well,
I'll second it.
Okay,
that's pretty good. All right.
all right.
I'm, safety, it's safety equipment.
That's a
I'm
big
okay
deal.
with that.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
deal. Ted,
Okay,
remember
seconded by
this one.
Councilmember Lunt, then all in favor?
Aye.
I
Any
will not
opposed?
approve a helicopter.
All right.
That was part of the second.
Boy,
A
that's-
closed session. We don't have any updates specifically that I would say we should enter closed session. So unless somebody has something they want to talk about, we can get a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion to adjourn by Councilmember Lunt,
Second.
seconded by Councilmember Malkovich. We're adjourned.
See you guys.
Good to see you,
See
Chris.
ya.
Thanks.
Turn your mics off and,